you're here, Rebecca Rainier.
Welcome to Full Plate. Thanks so much. I'm so glad you're here, just like the song says. I'm Rebecca Rainier. Okay, we have a total departure for the first segment of this show. A friend of mine, his name is Dirk Manning. That's not his real name, that's his author name. And what he writes are best-selling graphic novels. They're not exactly for everyone because there's a little violence, a lot of violence, and the content isn't for the little kiddies. But Dirk came in to explain what is a graphic novel. Do your kids read them? If your kids or someone in your family are interested in graphic novels, how do you get started in becoming a cartoonist for them or a writer for them? Take a look. Here's my interview with the very mysterious but very successful Dirk Manning. Okay, so joining me here is Dirk Manning, noted horror comic. What's the format we're looking at? They're not really comic books.
Well, you know, I'm a graphic novelist, comic book writer, auteur.
So a lot of our kids, a lot of people that watch this show are moms like me, and a lot of our kids read these kind of things now, and we're sort of trying to figure out what it's all about. You've got a book that actually explains how to get into this. If you've got a really creative person in your house, this is a book that talk about right or wrong a little bit.
Yeah, I put out a book called Right or Wrong, A Writer's Guide to Creating Comics, which, as you said, is really designed for people that are interested in creating comics, but maybe can't necessarily draw them themselves, and really about that process, how you go from, okay, I want to write comics, I want to write graphic novels, but you don't know where to go. You don't know where to meet artists, you don't know how to, you know, build a team, get your team going, you know, print the books on demand, publish the books online, things like that. That's really the purpose of Right or Wrong.
If you have a creative soul in your house, this is a really good. I mean, you had to do all the legwork. I'm sure when you said to your parents way back then, they went, huh?
It was a very interesting conversation. Like, oh, that thing you do, and oh, why don't you just work a second job? Why don't you go shovel manure or something, you know?
So they were probably, you had to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, I tell people the Right or Wrong book is 10 years of experience as well as 10 years of mistakes, packed into one just handy guide for anyone that actually wants to create comics. I mean, this is the field guide. You know, this is the book that it's just like I'm talking to you right now. There's nothing technical, nothing fancy. Like, okay, you want to create comics. How can we go about getting you there?
That is so useful. I would imagine you get that question all the time. So finally you're able to say, here it is.
Well, that's it, yeah. I mean, it evolved from an online column I did, which, as you said, was the same question. People would come up to me, and I was in that situation for a long time. You know, when I was wanting to get started, I would go talk to editors and writers and, like, you know, how can I do this? How can I get involved in making comics? And now here's the field guide for it.
And then the other, you're also touring, but the other item that we've got here is not as much horror, but it looks a little scary.
It's a little spooky.
This is a Halloween kind of love story.
Yes, absolutely.
Talk about, what's the name of the book?
This is Love Stories to Die For. It's, yeah, there went the not so spooky aspect. But it's a really cool concept. What we did is through Image Comics, we did a flip book. There's 22 full-length stories. You have one story, it's like a vampire versus Viking story, non-glittering variety.
Edward is nowhere to be found.
Not in this. He wouldn't last 5 seconds in this book. But then when you get done with that story, you get to flip it over. And we did a whole nother book, another 22-page story in here, which is kind of like a science fiction horror story in space.
Oh, wow.
And they both have a very strong love element to them, but it's also horror too, make no mistake.
Okay. So what's next for you? I mean, you're touring with these. It seems like such a lot of work to get the word out.
It is. I'm actually doing 13 shows in 13 weeks, or 13 appearances, I guess, in 13 weeks. I'm doing comic conventions, horror conventions, comic book store signing appearances. For the next 13 straight weeks, I'll be appearing all out throughout the Midwest. If I survive that, I'll have another book. During the process, I'll have a new book coming out, Tales of Mystery, which is a spin-off of my Nightmare World franchise, Through Devil's Due, and we're going to kickstart that as well. We're going to try some really new progressive things in regards to...
Oh, you're going to use Kickstarter.
We're going to use Kickstarter through a publisher. The idea being that way the really hardcore, dedicated people who follow my work online and really like it,
they're in it up front.
Yeah, they get like a prestige. They can opt to buy prestige editions of the work.
Oh, nice.
But we can also then, at the end of the Kickstarter, release a mass market edition of the work, so we're not cutting the comic book shops out of the middle. That was really important to me, and that's why I teamed up to do Tales of Mystery with Devil's Due.
So if you have someone in your life that is interested in making this, I don't know about a career, you're making it a career,
It's a process.
right or wrong, how do they get your work? Let's make sure we let them know if they want to take a look at what you've done here. If they
Yeah.
What's the best way to get a hold of Dirk Manning's work?
For the comic book work I do for Love Stories to Die For, Nightmare World, upcoming, Tales of Mystery, that'll be available through local comic book shops. Like I said, we're going to be doing the Tales of Mystery Kickstarter in October. And Right or Wrong right now is exclusive on Amazon right now. And if you have an Amazon Prime membership, you can get it for free.
Oh.
You can actually rent it from the Amazon library. Otherwise, Right or Wrong is just on Amazon right now.
All right, good to know. Congratulations on all your success. And we will link to all the tour dates in this area so people can actually meet you and see what's behind the
Yeah, they can see they can see my horrible visage for themselves without breaking the camera.
Right, which is, he's joking. He's very good looking, but you have to meet him in person to see.
Maybe.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I know, so different from Full Plate. Dirk Manning's comics are fantastic. They're not safe for little kids, but his book, Right or Wrong, is a really instructional book if you have someone that's interested in taking the path down the graphic novelist, career path, as it were. When we come back, we're going to get much more, typical for our show, typically great recipes to stick with your diet. We have the joy of Weight Watchers. Joy Ermey is here, and it's all about apples and loose for good, and trust me, you'll like it.